So now I'm going to talk a little bit about speech recognition, and there's essentially two types of speech recognition that we're engaged with, and the part that I'm going to talk about is a little around the server-side speech recognition, and then Jonathan's going to come up and talk a little bit more generally about speech recognition as a whole, and potentially the client-side elements. But for us, the server-side components are relating to speech recognition. This is where, as a fee earner, as a lawyer, I'm continuing in my normal practice of dictation, what have you, without actually having to worry about what's happening with the creation of words and so forth. This is really a mechanism of improving your secretarial productivity, for example, a turnaround on reports so that you can have those reports returned in a faster time and reduce your backlog across the organisation if you have one. So those are kind of the drivers around server side, and I'll talk a little bit about a lot of the misunderstanding in and around accuracy if you've had any experience using speech recognition. And then how do you prove that it's actually working in your business? Because this is kind of putting to bed the myth around, you know, it's inaccurate, therefore it's not working kind of stuff. It's simply not true. So you need to be able to have those metrics in place to be able to monitor the performance and see that it actually is improving those turnarounds and reducing those backlogs for you in your document creation process. So in this instance, what I'm looking at here is a little bit of the metric information, and I have a graph here that is showing us in blue the non-speech recognition dictations versus in the kind of mustard colour the speech recognition jobs, and across several months. And what we can see is that over the 3 months, this is a graph of essentially the speed to turn around the job, the speed at which the report's created. We can see that as a profile, this is on average for this particular department, on average the speed of turnaround is improving, is dramatically improving towards the August period. And in terms of like how does that translate into report generation, we can see here in the table that previously a minute of audio was taking around about 18.2 minutes to actually turn around as such, you know, by the time the typist actually got to the job and, you know, did the typing part and then it was printed and etc. So with the introduction of the speech recognition componentry, we see that that's actually been halved to 9.79, so 9.79 minutes. So you can't argue you can't argue against those sort of figures. That is an improvement in your turnaround for your reports and things. So coming back to the argument around whether we should fixate on accuracy as a performance metric or turnaround, I just wanted to give you a couple of examples here. This graph shows essentially over time a number of jobs produced by an author who's just dictating in the normal way. The recognition engine's working in behind the scene and producing the typed document, effectively the transcriptionist to do her correction. So little dots refer to the jobs as they're going through, and we can see that to begin with it was just below 80%, and then it's come up over time and settled in and around kind of 90 and then dipped at the end. But it's being reported at 75% accuracy, not a kind of average of around about what I would say kind of 90-ish. So what's actually happening there? Interpreting the accuracy data is very, very important to understanding you know, whether you're actually getting the benefit or not. So I'll just add a little bit here. We can see that this outlier at 20% has actually dragged down the average accuracy result. And you've got to really kind of go, well, what happened there to actually make, you know, this kind of performance suddenly drop off? Is the system really that bad? No, it's not. It's simply that the wrong lawyer walked in and dictated on this particular PC and used the profile of the person who was logged in previously. So you've got to look at some of these elements to really kind of ensure that you're still on track, so to speak. Another one here is this particular speaker's results seem to be varying quite dramatically. And it happened that his dictation style, he was moving from tape-based devices, where you kind of have the mic right up here, to a digital microphone where he still had the mic right up close, and as a result, he was effectively yelling at the system. So the red kind of markers indicate the distortion in the audio waveform that you see there. So the recognition system's going, I don't understand this yelling. Other factors to kind of monitor in this process, you know, as good style, I guess, to keep that accuracy above the certain threshold that gives you the positive turnaround, is making sure that we don't blur our words, that we actually pronounce things correctly. You can dictate at a high speed. It's just you've got to actually make sure your words are nicely separated as part of that, and not kind of run them together in a quick kind of Kiwi accent. Other things, perhaps they've inserted notes into the actual dictation, such as, can you go and get this particular file, or can you update such and such, and that's not really part of the letter that's going to go out. So the correctionist then goes and wipes it out, and the accuracy goes, oh, that's 15 words out of the total job of 100 words, so 15% reduction in accuracy. So understanding some of these components is important to ensure that, you know, you are actually achieving the sort of results that you need. Just a couple of graphs there that show distributions as the reporting, or the department that you work in might have a kind of complex reporting style, that the distribution of work and the accuracy of that may vary more than an area that has a very kind of consistent type of letter that they're putting out quite regularly, and shows a much higher kind of skewed distribution of accuracy. It doesn't actually mean that we're getting bad performance again. What it means is that there's a lower threshold in terms of accuracy that will deliver the improvements and turnaround. Other kind of tips that we've learned in and around the implementation of speech recognition, because it's very, very important in those first early stages that you identify your champion speakers, that you bring them on early, because they will get the good results and other people will see that and go, I want to be a part of that. Because it's kind of like, hang on a sec, he's got that and he's getting the great stuff, I want it too now. Versus starting the other way around, switching it on and hoping that the person's going to get good results. It turns out bad, and then everybody goes, it's crap, I don't want to be part of that. So, you know, the change culture that you're trying to work through with the technology is important as well. The approach you take in your rollout and adoption of technology as an enabler and a helper in your business. These are just kind of down on the bottom here, some scoring techniques. We listen to the person and determine whether or not their volume is suitable, whether or not they talk without kind of pronouncing the words very well, that they talk at the right tempo, they're not particularly heavily accented like I am, and things like that help produce the good results. And this is the dashboard kind of view of the metric system that we have, which you've seen a couple of the graphs from. But you can look at the department as a whole and go, okay, well, on average, we are seeing a performance improvement in our turnaround. We've got 35% of the work going through the servers, speech recognition servers, and on average, we've kind of got an accuracy sitting in and around just above 80%, just below 85%. And that's good enough to give us the turnaround improvements that we're looking at. We don't need to fixate on trying to get everybody to kind of near 100%, because the amount of resource and energy we would need to achieve that might be, you know, prohibitive in terms of the actual cost saving. So look at these graphs, monitor, you know, as the work goes through, and understand and tune to achieve the sort of results that you're looking for. So yeah, that's some of the summary in terms of identifying those champions, having your secretaries play back in the correction phase at twice the normal speed, because, you know, they can all type as fast as I can speak, so there's no point in having them play back at normal speed, because there's no savings. So, you know, up the speed, you're only listening to it, improving, yep, that's correct, adjustment, and send the report out. So do that. Extend and work and manage your vocabularies, and coach your speakers on their style.